Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Joan Vassos' unforgettable moment with seniors in assisted living. Joan Vassos and some of her golden bachelorette suitors went to prom on the latest episode of the popular TV show. The event was a huge hit, so Joan decided to throw another prom. But this time, she celebrated with seniors living in an assisted living facility. Stay on this page for all the details. Theresa Nist gives former Golden Bachelor rival advice. Theresa Nist's love with Jerry Turner didn't last long, but she had some advice for Joan Vassos. Both ladies were contestants on the first Golden Bachelor season. Joan left after a few episodes to deal with the family matter. Theresa went on to get engaged, marry and divorce Jerry Turner in less than a year. Theresa spoke to the New York Post about Joan's season. She said that the network made the right choice. Theresa shared this advice with Joan, so what we talked about was that she was going to give every single man her undivided attention so that she would really see if there was a connection. That's what we talked about. The Golden Bachelor alum added that Joan takes the role very seriously. What an incredible spot to be in. And she realizes it. She knows what an opportunity this is, and she knows she represents women everywhere. That includes women living in assisted living. Joan Vassos' unforgettable moment with seniors in assisted living. The magic of prom isn't just for high schoolers. Thanks to the kindness of Golden Bachelorette star Joan Vassos, a group of seniors in the Bristol assisted living facility got to experience the joy of this special night. Vassos hosted a prom just for them, complete with all the glitz and glamour of a traditional prom. According to BachelorNation.com, the living area was decked out with balloons, streamers, and other prom-themed decorations. The event included finger foods and a charcuterie spread. There was also a prom court to name the facility's prom king and queen. The prom king revealed that he never went to his high school prom. One senior resident couldn't stop rushing over Joan Vassos. So friendly, so warm, so nice. I can see why you picked her. Another praised the event. I didn't expect this. The food is good, and the costumes are lovely, they said. In addition to the makeshift prom, the seniors watched an episode of The Golden Bachelorette with Joan Vassos. Watch the video of the seniors living their best lives at their prom. Joan Vassos had never imagined that an afternoon visit to the local assisted living center would become one of the most memorable moments of her life. A retired teacher with a heart of gold, she'd spent years volunteering, teaching, and offering a hand where it was needed. But this visit, on an autumn day when the air outside was crisp, and the leaves were turning shades of amber and gold, was unlike any other. Joan had always loved spending time with seniors. Their wisdom, their stories, their laughter, even their silence, filled with years of experience, drew her in. So when the director of the Silver Oaks Assisted Living Center asked her to lead a creative storytelling session, Joan eagerly agreed. She arrived at Silver Oaks just after lunch, the dining hall filled with the scent of pumpkin pie and cinnamon tea. The room was brightly lit, and the soft hum of conversation filled the air. The seniors, many of whom Joan had come to know well over the years, were gathered in the lounge, sitting in their favorite chairs. Some looked out the large bay windows at the falling leaves, while others played a quiet game of cards at a small table in the corner. Joan carried with her a small leather journal and a box of brightly colored pens. She believed everyone had a story to tell, and today she wanted to help these residents share theirs. She hoped to capture moments, memories, and fragments of their pasts, anything that might light up their faces with the joy of reminiscence. As Joan greeted each senior, she noticed something about their energy today, something lighter, perhaps the nostalgia that autumn often brings. Alice, a woman in her 80s with sparkling blue eyes and a wit sharp as ever, was the first to speak. "Joan dear, what stories are you going to have us tell today?" Alice asked with a mischievous grin. Joan smiled warmly. "I'm not going to tell you what to write or say. Today, it's all about you. Think of a moment in your life that was unforgettable. It could be something joyful, something funny, or even something sad. Whatever it is, if it stuck with you, then it matters, and we'd love to hear it." The room fell quiet for a moment as each senior reflected. Some fiddled with their pens, others gazed out the window, lost in thought. Finally, Harold, a quiet man in his 90s who rarely spoke during their sessions, cleared his throat. He sat up straighter in his chair, his hands trembling slightly as he gripped the arms of his seat. "I'll start," he said softly, his voice gravelly with age but filled with determination. Everyone turned toward Harold, eager to hear what he had to share. "I grew up on a farm," he began. "We didn't have much, but we had enough. My brothers and I used to run wild through the fields, chasing each other and getting into trouble. But there was one day I'll never forget." The room seemed to hold its breath as Harold paused, his eyes growing misty with the memory. "It was the day my father told me I was ready to plow the fields on my own. I was only 12, but I felt like a man that day, like I had finally earned my place in the family. I remember the feel of the earth beneath my feet, the smell of the fresh-turned soil, and the way the sun sank low over the horizon, casting everything in gold. It was simple, but it was the moment I knew I'd carry with me for the rest of my life." When Harold finished, the room was silent for a beat before breaking into soft applause. Joan smiled, her heart full. She could see that Harold's story had touched everyone in the room, even those who had heard countless tales in their own long lives. Next came Martha, a petite woman with a penchant for knitting and a love for music. She spoke of the day she met her late husband, describing the dance hall where they'd first locked eyes. "He was wearing the most ridiculous hat," she said with a chuckle. "But he had the best smile I'd ever seen. We danced all night and I knew, right then and there, I'd marry that man." One by one, the seniors shared their stories. Some were sweet and heartwarming, while others were tinged with sadness. There was James, who told of his time in the Navy, and how he had watched the stars from the deck of a ship in the middle of the Pacific, feeling like the universe was endless. There was Clara, who spoke of baking pies with her grandmother, her voice soft as she described the smell of warm apples and cinnamon that filled their tiny kitchen. Joan listened intently to each one, her heart swelling with affection for these beautiful, resilient souls. She felt as though she were not just hearing stories but stepping into their memories, walking beside them in the past. But the most unforgettable moment of the day came when Mary, a woman who had always remained quiet during these sessions, spoke up. Mary had lived at Silver Oaks for many years, and though she was kind, she rarely engaged in conversation beyond pleasantries. Today, however, something was different. Mary cleared her throat and began speaking, her voice soft but steady. "I never had children," she said, her eyes downcast, "but I always wanted to be a mother. I married late, and it just never happened." The room fell completely silent. Even Alice, usually quick with a joke or comment, was still. But one day, Mary continued, her voice growing stronger. "I was walking through a park, and I saw a little girl sitting on a bench, crying. I sat down next to her and asked her what was wrong. She said she'd lost her mother in the crowd, so I stayed with her, held her hand, and waited. Eventually, her mother came running up, and they were reunited. But for those few minutes, I was that little girl's mother. I felt it. And it was enough." Tears welled in Joan's eyes as Mary finished, and she wasn't the only one. The raw emotion in Mary's voice, the simplicity of the moment she had shared, left everyone in the room deeply moved. When the session ended, Joan felt a sense of profound connection. The stories shared that day weren't just words. They were pieces of history, moments of vulnerability, love, and joy. Joan knew that she would carry these stories with her, just as each senior had carried theirs.